Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS. It's time for Owin's Field Report, sponsored by Les Schwab Tire Centers.
Now, of course, in some of our tributaries, the Columbia, the Willamette, and some of the smaller systems that got a little shot of water here this last week, things did kind of wind down, but the rivers are still very, very low. We're still waiting for a freshet of some kind to draw a lot of silvers and fall chinook into some of the coastal streams up and down the west side, or of course the coast. So the bays have still been very productive. It seems like, and that'll hold out, of course, right? If you're not too familiar, there's classifications when you're talking about coastal fall chinook fishing. You got bay anglers and you've got tributary folks that want to be in the river, and then folks that want to stay in the bays. And right now, the bay anglers love this, right? The rivers aren't forecasted to make any significant bounces yet. Until they do, those fish are going to stay in the bays. They're going to flush in and out, and it doesn't really matter which one it is. This time of year, if it's North Coast, Central, or even further south, the fish really don't have anywhere to go. Ultimately, though, they're waiting for that freshet, just like river fishermen, which I happen to be one, is waiting for. So the opportunities are still very, very good up and down the coast. Now, here more close to home, you know, the success rates this time of year for silvers in particular are already tough, but they're still there. Some of the reports I got Tuesday and Wednesday were good enough to where I was really thinking about going fishing. Now, I didn't, because I'm right now in full-blown duck mode, or at least at the time I was getting everything prepared for this weekend, and here I am. But certainly some great options to get out there. Pay attention to what the rivers are going to do going forward. Of course, we'll always have that for you here on GPS, but taking a look at the fish counts right now, a little interesting. I mean, not entirely exciting, but when you're talking about numbers going over the falls at Oregon City, there's been some decent days. This week they haven't updated for a handful of days. Still well behind of what it was last year, but still pretty darn good for folks that are targeting them in a number of different places on the Willamette right now. If it's down in the Oregon City area or above or wherever it might be, there's certainly some fish around. The hardest part is to get them to bite. Welcome to chasing silvers in freshwater. Taking a look at Bonneville, though, numbers for folks that are spending their time up above Bonneville, still promising. It is starting to wind down, absolutely normal. If you take a look at the 10-year average, even last year's numbers, still very, very consistent with fish making their way up above Bonneville. Some of the fisheries up there have been very productive for silvers in a number of different ways. It's just a really weird year. You know, there'll be more people up there if Chinook were actually an option, but with them not, you know, there's not as many people that necessarily target silvers up there, but if you fish in the right way, it can be very, very productive up there in front of some of the cool water areas that are up there. Taking a look at Chinook numbers, of course, being down into the lower end of the numbers, so nothing too dramatic there. People are still asking, is there going to be an extension? I don't foresee that. I haven't heard of it. But we'll see what their decisions are. Nobody can really keep track of that, nor can they. Willamette River below the falls, pretty stable. Unfortunately, I'd love to see these up in like the 12s and 14s, but we're probably a couple months away from that. Same thing on the Columbia, big vertical tide, so if you are out there chasing them, grass has gotten a lot better. That was a good report that I got this week from a couple different buddies out there, that they didn't deal with grass hardly at all. Could have been part of the tide. I would assume that there's still plenty out there. But that's obviously, or maybe not obviously, that is getting better as it goes forward. Then taking a look at Bonneville. Some of the catches up there have been interesting as well. Remember, if you're going to be up that high, shallower spots, fishing higher in the water column, all those things do hold true. Clackamas is showing a little bit of a bounce with the rain we got coming the next couple of days, but nothing too dramatic for any of these rivers that you're going to see, especially going up and down the coast. There might be a little bit of a bounce going on. You can see the Wilson a little bit ahead of schedule, at least above what they were forecasting. Silet's bit of a bounce, but these little bounces are great. They bring fish up, it gets them a little bit snappy. These are really good handful of days that you might have over there. And of course, everything kind of peters out. We'll see how, I'd love to see just a huge freshet in the first week in November, but we'll see how that pans out. That's just me being selfish. Nehalem, same thing. So pretty much everything is just going to have a little bit of a bounce, nothing too dramatic, but those are all great things, especially if you're spending your time up and down the coast, right? These are things that can just change the attitude of fish in the bay, or even if they're in tidewater or wherever else. Those little shots of scent really makes things change. Jason at Procure.com. Go over to your computer, your phone, whatever it is, and send Jason an email, and you'll have a chance to win that prize pack. It is, of course, slanted down towards steelhead with our winter steelhead season not that far around the corner. I'm really looking forward to that as well, come January-ish. Got a lot to do between now and then. Okay, as always, though, we got a great interview coming up here. If you like to chase clams in Oregon and Washington, you've probably given up already. You've probably said, well, it's October, we're going into November, we're going to have to wait until spring. That's not the case. We're going to find out from Dale Murph, an expert on how you can target these things this time of year and be still very successful. We'll have that for you when we come back from this break.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by Hawken Fishing, perfection in fishing gear, and by Haxton's Canvas and Upholstery, the trusted name of the Pacific Northwest.